Hello, thank you so much for joining us today. So we are Ascendance Biomedical. My name is Aaron Traywick, CEO, Andrea Sturmer, lead researcher, Machiavelli Davis, production specialist, Walter Patterson, production specialist, and Gabriel Licina, laboratory manager. Over the last 12 months, we have been developing a vaccine and a cure for herpes type 1 and type 2. This is a very important project for a number of reasons. Today we're going to be doing a live testing here before you. This will be one of the few live testings in the world of gene therapy technologies. We prefer to do everything before a live audience so that you can hold us accountable in the days to come as we collect the data to prove whether or not this works or if it doesn't. If it doesn't, obviously we keep moving forward. If it does, we're happy and we keep moving forward. The most important thing to know before we move forward a little bit, Andreas is going to give us a brief description of kind of the insane levels we have gone to this. We started out with about 10 different creation strategies to tackle herpes. As you probably know, herpes is a very complicated genetic issue that people experience. We had to narrow it down over a series of months to get to something that we actually felt we could move forward with in production. And then we had to divide it up into 5 or 10 different production strategies again so that we could find a way to produce this to the public, to people around the world at less than $100 a dose for a one-time only use. So one-time cure, one-time vaccine. The most important thing to know about this, though, is that this is just the first application of an open access gene therapy delivery system that we have developed that can deliver any number of immunities or treatments against diseases that your body does not have a natural antibody to. Our genetically programmed nanorobotic technology allows the genetic immunity to bind to the immune system in a way that your immune system does not fight off. It instead embraces and uses as a more powerful tool in your genetic arsenal for immunity and for cure. And the next application for this, and why this test is so important, is because if we succeed with herpes in even the most minor of ways, then we can move forward immediately with cancer. We have an attack gene that is triggered to attack a common cell feature present in about 85% of cancer cells of all cancer cell types. And we will be able to launch our work here against cancer. So that is everything that's coming up next. Now I'm going to give Andreas, just to say briefly, Andreas, so why is it that we've made such a big deal of herpes? Obviously, it's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, but it may be.
Yeah, so for most people, herpes is just an annoyance. You know, cold sores are annoying, but most people think that's all. And actually, there's new data showing it may be involved in Alzheimer's. We don't know causative, one of the causes, or maybe just a cofactor. It may be involved in spine diseases, and like any virus, it inhibits p53, which is a crucial mechanism of the cell to basically stop the cell from becoming cancer. And of course, it's very bad for longevity and health because herpes creeps into your nerves, stays there your whole life, and basically keeps breaking out all day, every day of your life. And this means chronic inflammation, and inflammation is not good for your body. Inflammation, basically, there's so many mechanisms how chronic inflammation damages your body over time.
Yes, so essentially, even if you don't have outbreaks, even if you don't have visible symptoms, even if it's not a problem for you or your partners, your body is always at war, so you're always fighting. And that can be nerve-wracking as you get older, obviously. So real quickly, we only have 30 minutes, so we want to open the floor up to 2 technical questions. We want to receive technical questions, questions about the research or questions about the technology. So real quick, 2 questions.
Can your process also deliver interactive mitochondria DNA?
So the question that you asked just there is a very specific question, and we get them all the time. And this is what Andreas does, and this is why he is lead researcher. So he monitors the channels, and we receive communication from people all over the world wondering if we can apply our technologies, our open access platforms, to different diseases that they have, genetic or otherwise. And the answer is, by and large, Yes. What you need to do, just send an email in to us by our website. Andreas will read it and he will devise a strategy and we will move forward in the quickest way possible. Obviously, it's not all that easy for us to prioritize every single project, but we do work with members of the public to create custom designed applications of this platform to help their health personally. Got any other questions?
So, ethical commission, did you have an ethical commission looking after that?
No. So this is a research... No, it is not a requirement. This is a research compound. This research compound is being used by a member of the Ascendance Biomedical team for personal experimentation purposes. We label everything not for human consumption, technically. You know.
Also, just like, actually, there's a long history of experimentation amongst researchers. You want to stab yourself with something, like try it out, that's actually legal. It's not a thing. The FDA isn't going to come after you for experimenting upon yourself.
Correct, and it is in fact.
Historically, that's how medicine happens.
Jonas Salk, Louis Pasteur, the birth of modern medicine and clinical research is owed to the fact that these individuals chose themselves and their families to do self-experimentation on. We would have lost billions. You would not be here today if polio, if malaria, if these diseases were still in place without self-experimentation. So that's an important point to note. None of our research compounds are currently commercially available. Once they are secured safe and efficacious, they will be available not for human consumption. However, obviously, as Gabriel said, you are in your right to self-experiment with research compounds. It is your health, it is your body. No one legislates that.
You aren't female.
Yeah, well, nah, I mean, I know exactly, I know. I wasn't saying that. I ain't saying that. And I'm from Alabama. Don't worry. I know.
It's worse.
It's worse. So the intention today was, to have Andreas come up here and perform the self-test of the vaccine. Andreas does not have herpes. And so a live testing of the vaccine would be able to show us some novel data about the safety and efficacy of the vaccine. However, we had 3 major issues that came up when it came to that. The first was that we had a major production delay, so it was not ready.
Cells sometimes just don't want to grow for you. They don't care about your pressing need for film time.
There you go. So biology and narrative don't always go together. But so that was an issue. We knew we could not delay, however, because as many of you know, there are plenty of companies that come out and they talk all the time about how they're developing all these great grand cures and they're going to save the world. And somehow it just gets pushed along down the line and you never see this stuff come into reality. It never actually intersects with you or your loved ones' lives in a way that would help you. So we knew we could not delay. We also knew we could get up here and we could just inject water and you guys would never know. A few days from now we inject the real thing and we would release the data. Be the same thing to you, but it would not be the same thing to us.
Also, lying, totally bad.
There you go. Easier way to say it. So we decided against both of those strategies and we decided that we needed a new way. Luckily, we had 2 different production strategies. One that was designed to be less minimal risk for individuals who do not already have herpes, and one that is minor risk, but not anything that is a difficulty or an issue with an individual who has herpes already. That is a much more high potency dose. That is what will be performed and tested today. And the third thing that came up was in conversations with our chief researcher, because we have a lead researcher and a chief researcher because we can't have his head getting too big. A very important point about the science of this all was made very clear. When we tested our live tested our HIV cure, that's a cure. It wasn't designed as a vaccine. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. When you're testing a vaccine, you have to have 2 individuals. You have to have someone who doesn't have the disease and someone who does. When Andreas does his testing of the vaccine a few days from now, max a week and a half from now, what we'll be able to see in his blood samples is the lack of presence of herpes still. So he doesn't have herpes now, he won't have herpes later, and the presence of the vaccine, which confirms the vaccine is in body. But until he has sex with somebody who has herpes, or kisses somebody who has a cold sore, we won't know if it works or not. And even then, that's not really anything except for anecdotal data. So in order for us to confirm that this delivery system, which I want to stress again here, has incredible potential for cancer, and not just cancer, but for the aging process in general. You can talk to us about that afterwards. Without an individual testing it who actually has herpes and confirming that the viral loads do change afterwards and that the vaccine is still present in the body, we don't have additional confirmation that the vaccine works. And so, luckily, I have herpes. So, I volunteered myself to make our narrative and our production schedule go along so that you can have the event that you have come here for, and so that we can all keep pushing the ball forward in everything that we are doing, trying to make these cures and these vaccines a reality. So, to that extent, so Gabe has gone ahead and he has prepared the
virus is in the easy bake oven.
The virus is in the easy bake oven.
Yeah, it really is that simple. I mean, it's just, so we're using lipofectamine, which is a transfection agent. Does anybody know what a transfection agent is? Can I see some hands? Okay. Lipofectamine is the bottle by which you drink the Coca-Cola. Say what?
Can you use the mic?
I could use my
2 minutes.
voice. So a transfection agent, let's put it this way. I want to give you a tasty beverage. Transfection agent is the Coca-Cola bottle. It doesn't necessarily have to have Coca-Cola in it. It could have, it could have bisplasmid in it, or it could have something else. The point is, it moves one thing to another thing on a cellular level. So part of that is that you just let it sit. So we're doing that right now. It's actually not that exciting. Science is totally not photogenic.
Put an LED light on it.
No, UV very light sensitive. You've got it covered, right? Cover it.
Yeah, it's in brown. It's in brown. It's plastic.
All right.
And it's plastic. So
Okay.
It's totally okay. Yeah. So does anyone want to know more about the mechanism of how this works? Yeah. Oh my gosh! There we go. That's what I want to hear.
So real quick, let's have you do the Q&A while
I'm
doing.
going to actually hand it to the developer
Yeah, there you go.
of the mechanism. And let's see some hands. Who wants to know how this works? Come on, hands up, hands up. Okay, you with the stripy arms.
I want to know how this works.
Okay, Andreas.
Okay.
Gabe,
So
give me the signal when it's ready.
Yeah.
traditional vaccines have always been so you inject one protein of herpes with a different adjuvant, like to boost your immune system. And over 30 years, they have pretty much tried every protein and every adjuvant, and it just doesn't work. So it's pretty safe data to say now single proteins don't work. And new data shows that if you take multiple antigens of the herpes virus, then your immune system gets enough antibodies to attack it from all angles, and it can be efficient. And there's this glycoprotein called glycoprotein D, which is like a decoy for the immune system. So the immune system attacks it, but it only has antibodies against this protein and they don't work. So by not having glycoprotein D, but all the other glycoproteins, this is very efficient. And furthermore, we are injecting also the DNA. So your body cells, some of the cells, not all, these cells, they produce the antigens, and you get the TH01 and TH02 response, both of them. So not just humoral immunity, like key lock principle, but you also get the immune system scanning into your cells through MHC. Can I borrow that for a second?
So, to break it down, what he said, who here has a pass to get into the conference? Yeah, right. Okay, so glycoprotein D is your conference pass. It also makes the bouncers, like if you have one of those, all of a sudden the bouncer just says, yeah, sure, come on in. Now, once you take away the conference pass, all of a sudden you can't get through the door. Now, if you try to get through the door later with a conference pass, the bouncer's like, no, dude, I already saw you. Wait, this has already happened. And so this is what we're talking about in terms of immunoresponse. It's about removing the conference pass, the thing that lets you through the door, because glycoprotein D is, if I'm correct, the thing that actually lets you go in, like lets the virus into the cell. And it's also the immuno mask. So we're basically taking away the conference pass. Is that good enough?
Very good.
What's our time like on the timer? I mean,
30 seconds.
30 seconds. We got time for a 30-second question. What you got, Vord?
How is it that the same mechanism can be used as both a vaccination and a cure?
Good question. I explained that.
Maybe in layperson's terms. Sorry, I'm not sure I got it.
So to break it down, it gives the body a broad array of antibodies to fight against herpes. And with natural infection, you have very little array of antibodies. You just have against glycoprotein D. And that way it fights the herpes virus very efficient, and no matter if the herpes comes from outside or from your nerves breaking out.
Thank you. All right. So without further ado, some quick points here. So I've been fasting pretty much the whole week. I haven't eaten for about 3 days. Had a meal yesterday and no meal today. So this should increase immunoreceptivity, but that's not necessarily verified. There's not a lot of research into that. But that was my preference since this is my testing. My experience of herpes is similar to Tristan Roberts' experience of HIV. Tristan was able to keep his own viral loads down through a relatively healthy lifestyle without the use of antiretroviral medications. I have never used antiretroviral medications, and I do not have breakouts, and no partner that I have has or ever had breakouts as well. So for me, I'm not dying. I'm not one of the people out there who is on the verge of suicide because of their experience of this stuff. However, obviously, those people might not have the courage to speak or the courage to get up on the stage. So we want to make it known to them, that this is why we're doing this, is so that those individuals can freely have intimacy and love and sex with the people that they want to. So that's the goal of this, is to relieve ourselves of some of these cultural stigmas around these minor diseases, but again, pave the way for our work in cancer, which will be the massive breakthroughs that we really want to see. So without further ado, I will now, intramuscular injection is how this has to be performed. I do not do intramuscular injections into any muscles but my thighs, and I cannot pull these up, so I will be taking off my pants.
Yeah.
And
What's up? I didn't know about that.
I'm wearing underwear.
That's good.
And so here we go. And while we're doing it, somebody's going to have to hold the mic. So if you've got questions out there, feel free to ask.
Yeah, actually, there were a lot of people that wanted to know more about the stuff. So ask about the stuff, guys.
I want to know how long he's had herpes for.
5 years.
I have a question about I think back. Way back. About allergies with this particular type of therapy and contraindications for the type of therapy that it is.
You mean, can you rephrase?
Yeah, rephrase the
Yeah,
question,
so
please.
for people who are getting other types of immunity injections or any other types of drugs, there might be people that have allergies based on the type of technology that it is, like antigens that come from eggs and things like that, so that's a low problem. And then there's also contraindications based on age or reaction, things like that.
So this is something we're looking in also with a different strategy, which is autoimmunity in general. Allergies, autoimmunity is your immune system fighting something that it shouldn't fight, like lupus. And we are in the very, very early stage of finding, of literature research and yeah, we're trying to get to these therapies also, but of course we only a handful of people. We have to prioritize and see to make something happen, not make something of everything happen, but nothing really.
Were you asking if there was a possible allergic response to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Tell me in 15 words or less what you want.
So you're asking if the shot can cause allergy or something?
Yes.
Of course, like it's antigens, viral antigens. But like any vaccine, like that's a very minor risk.
Are you talking about the delivery mechanism or the therapy itself?
I mean, the therapy itself, I was just wondering if there was like an anticipated reaction. Like we can make drugs out of certain things and others anticipated reactions based on the chemistry.
Yeah, there should be a skin rush.
Allergy should not take this shot, or someone who, because of the technology, that is not,
No.
not a candidate for this technology.
No, if he has an allergic reaction, he's allergic to lipids. If he's allergic to lipids, he's totally screwed and probably shouldn't be standing on
You
the
can be
stage.
allergic to anything, right? But
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
If the virus can't get in the cell, it can't reproduce, how long does it persist if it can't reproduce?
Question.
that's a good question. The immune system should be able to, within 3 days, should make a broad array of antibodies, and then it shouldn't take long for all the B cells and T cells to attack all these virus particles and cells to destroy anything that looks like herpes.
Hands off, dance off.
Is the compound targeted to HSV1 or 2 or not? And what are potential other applications for other virus, herpes family, CMV, chickenpox, shingles, etc., EB, etc.?
So yeah, that's a good question. So it is based on HSV2. That means it will be very effective against HSV2. But as you know, as you may know, some people with HSV1 people with HSV1 are usually a bit protected from HSV2. So if you have oral herpes, you don't get genital as easy. That means the antibodies
So
react.
there's only like 20 micrograms in there, so it's like really, really freaking small. So don't like bump it.
Yeah, don't worry.
Okay.
I'm a pro.
Yeah, and they also cross-react with Epstein-Barr virus. But we cannot tell about if this is enough to really suppress the kill the virus.
Yeah, which is great for me because I didn't get this from my mama. So.
Goodness.
As far as testing, can you test the blood in a bag? Like, does it have to be in a person? Like,
Camera angle.
So the question was, why we tested in humans? Is that?
Can you test this outside of yourself and see if it works? And then once you see it works, separate your blood and draw out.
Ooh, let me answer that. Okay, so that is an excellent question, and that goes back to a lot of other really interesting things where they're like, we cured cancer in mice. It's like, okay, so yeah, we could, and it has. This has already been done in murine models. The question is, does it work in a person? And that's what we're finding out right now. Like, if you test it somewhere else, all you know is that it works somewhere else. It doesn't actually answer the question, does it work for you?
To note here, I'm pulling up on the plunger to ensure that this is not into a vein and that it is into muscle. If you pull up on the plunger, that means that if you see air, you are in the muscle. Back to Gabe.
No, I mean, that's it. It's like, the question is can you test it somewhere else? Sure. Like, you can test lots of things other places. At some point, does it work in a human being? And that's what we're going for now.
I think it's all the way down, man. Yeah, it's down.
Yeah.
That was it.
No, it's just such a small amount.
Huh.
20 micrograms.
20 micrograms, dude. It's like nothing.
Would it still be caught in the barrel potentially?
No. Like I uploaded it into the barrel so that basically, I mean,
in all honesty, capillary action probably pulled most of it into you when you just stuck it in your leg.
Yep, that it just happened, by the
Yeah,
way.
that was right. Wow, science! Very exciting, people!
Is anything coming out?
No.
Let me see.
There's a little drop. There's a little drop. You see the little
Yeah,
drop?
you never get everything out of it, right?
No, that's, yeah, no.
No?
The whole point is...
All right, well, you already clapped. It's
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
Now we're done here, everybody go home.
No. So now, let's see. What time do we have? 4? Oh, you want me to put my pants? Are you sure?
No, Aaron without pants with a suit jacket.
All right. So obviously, this is the last event, but we are here. Come talk to us. Come learn how you can use your technology, your research. We can use these platforms to fight your disease. And next week, tune in Saturday, HBO, Vice, Netflix, and Canadian documentary film crew will all be filming live the phase 2 injection of the HIV therapy phase 2. This will be a 250 to 500 times higher potency than the initial safety test. And following this, we will be headed to Venezuela, where we will be able to deliver this treatment to individuals who are dying currently of AIDS and HIV in Venezuela at global genocide levels due to a lack of access to medication, of which the international community and the nonprofit community has yet to step in. So that is our course. That's where we're headed. We're not a kind of company or a kind of group of guys who just talk about saving lives. We are actively increasing access in the parts of the world where we can save lives in the here and now, because real human life, like face to face, that's true results. It's more than just profit, or it's more than just what we say up here on the screen. It's more than giving this stuff out for free even, or for very low cost, which we are going to be able to do. But all that's to say, stay in touch. Come talk to us. Come meet us. So what we will know in about 2 weeks from now, we'll be able to test blood samples of my blood, and we will do it PCR in our laboratories so that we'll be able to confirm the presence of the herpes at whatever concentration it's at, and if it's moving or if it's going down at all. The herpes DNA that is already in my body, and we'll also be able to confirm the presence of the vaccine itself. 2 weeks then later, we'll do it again. We may have to do it on a recurring basis as a cure purpose. For Andreas, we'll do the same, but we'll probably only have to do it at a single 2-week following interval. And yeah.
So what would you consider a success?
Success is cure. Success is cure for me and no herpes for him, because that means that we have pretty much 90% of the data we need to know that the vaccine will work for anybody who doesn't have herpes.
And if it doesn't work, what do we do then?
Then we move on to the next strategy, or I try the one that is designed for Andreas as a vaccine, and we try it from there. But regardless, we keep at it and we make sure that it works. All that said, we may see the data points that we need to see, even if it doesn't work for herpes, to let us know that it will work for cancer as a carrier.
And so what does it mean to you as a scientist to be researching it by putting it into yourself in front of the live audience? This is obviously extremely unconventional.
Well, these guys are the real scientists. I'm just a citizen scientist. But for me, it's about not waiting around for other companies, other people, other researchers to come up with the cures to help my family, my loved ones, my friends, my community, the world. It's about taking it into your own hands, doing it yourself, getting the work done, and not letting any delays get in the way.
One commenter asks, is this for all strains of herpes?
Is this for all strains with herpes?
Yeah, you can do it.
It's for humans with herpes.
For humans with herpes. And one person asks, how can we follow the test results?
You'll be able to follow the test results on www.ascendance.io. That's ASCENDANCE.io. Our website is currently a little bit under the weather, but we are revamping it to be able to show every step of the way, public, transparent knowledge about the QC controls and the data results for every one of our, count 'em, 14 gene therapies currently in development, all of which are, well, will blow your mind.
And one person commented, it takes amazing courage, and congratulations, guys. It looks like this was awesome. All right, is there anything else that you'd like to add before we
Switch in again in a few days when I will do the testing. Yeah, I guess.
Yep, either a few days or a week and a half from now, depending upon everything how it goes, but probably most likely a few days from now. And yeah, stay in touch.